Hi, I'm Novel Mike, and this is my opinion. So, time to talk about Ubisoft. They definitely had a mixed conference. It started off with some odd stuff, and then they had several good things throughout the press conference, but otherwise, it was pretty boring. So, let's just get right into it. They started off showing Just Dance with this really weird dance routine with like people dressed in animal costumes. It was just really odd. And if they didn't have anything else to show, like bad for the entire press conference, I think that would have been a great way to get the press conference started because it gets the stupid stuff out of the way. Problem was they had a lot more stupid stuff to talk about. Then they went into Recon Wildlands, which was the game they showed last year at the very end of the conference, and it just the gameplay itself, it looks okay, but they keep doing the stupid pre-recorded voiceover BS that is so obvious that it's just an actor reading a script about what's happening in the game, and it's not what people say. Like, with the way that people talk and just the actual lines people say, like, it's just so fake. If you want to do like voiceover, like people playing the game, get people to play the game, record it, take the best bits, and then put that into a montage like they did for Sea of Thieves. That worked so much better for Microsoft than what they did with Ghost Recon. And honestly, the gameplay was just okay. There's nothing really groundbreaking with anything that they showed for Ghost Recon. It just looks like another shooter. And I think a lot of people are seeing pretty much the same thing so far. Thankfully, from that, they went right into South Park, and that was amazing. Like, it was so funny. They showed a story trailer, they showed your character creation, they showed some gameplay, how the gameplay changes. They spent a good 10 minutes at least on it, and all of it looked amazing. The comedy is gold. Like, they were doing so well. And oddly enough, so was Aisha Tyler. Like, she had so many good jokes this year compared to the last several years where it's been hit or miss. Like, she kind of roasted Ubisoft a couple times, and it was fantastic. And South Park is going to have a really good pre-order bonus where you get the first game for PS4, Xbox One, or PC for free if you buy the new one. And if you buy it digitally, you actually get that version of the game now, which is awesome. If you want to buy it digitally, it's at least good incentive. And otherwise, you have to wait until the game comes out in December. And assuming that date doesn't slip, that is I'm into that because that game looks awesome. It's probably my favorite game I've seen of the show so far. And it helps that they went really in depth into what's changed and how they've kind of stepped up the writing and everything else. From there, they went kind of boring. They talked about Division DLC. Weird part was too, like, they're showing off the next expansion for the game, but it was a CG trailer. Like, if you're gonna talk about big content for your game, show it. Don't do cutscenes. Like, it's just no one wants to see that. They want to see the gameplay. They want to see how the game changed, and it's Division anyway. So the next thing they showed was a couple of VR games. First off, Eagle Flight, which they showed last year, which last year was basically this exploration kind of flying simulator. Now it's a Eagle capture the flag multiplayer game. It was not great. It didn't look that anywhere near as good as it did last year. Not into that at all. Then they showed Star Trek VR, or like Battle Commander or Battle Station, something like that. I don't like Star Trek. It's not my thing. But the problem I had with how they did this is they spent a lot of time on this. The game doesn't look very good. I give them credit. They did a great job trying to sell this to people who like Star Trek. They got several of the cast members from previous Star Trek shows and got them in to play the game and showed how it worked and all that jazz, but it just looks so rough. Like, I've seen better tech demos for friggin' the Steam machines and or Steam and early access games than that game. It just looked really rough, and I mean, if you're a Star Trek fan, you're probably excited for it, but I am not. That just looked awful. Thankfully, after that, we got back to more good stuff with For Honor, which they spent a long time on. It looks awesome. The gameplay was great. They showed the story trailer. They showed campaign, single player. Love that. Into that. Absolutely. Probably going to buy that. Probably not when it comes out, though, because it comes out February 14th, which unfortunately is the same day as Persona 5. And if you don't know which of the two I'm choosing over for that, then you don't know me very well. I'm totally choosing Persona 5, and there is no way in hell I'm playing that game anytime soon after it comes out. but it could always get pushed back or pushed up, whatever. It looks really good for sure, though. I mean, I definitely want to play it. I'm just not gonna drop Persona over it. After that, they showed Grow Up, a sequel to Grow Home, which came out a couple years ago or last year, whatever. I never liked it that much. I played it, didn't like the controls really. I couldn't get used to it, so not my thing. But if you're a fan of that, then there you go. After that, they showed Trials of the Blood Dragon, which is a mix of the Trials games, the motorcycle stunts, platforming games, and Far Cry Blood Dragon. So it's a Trials game, essentially, as a build, but with a bunch of crazy stuff happening, retro stuff like Far Cry Blood Dragon. Cool part was they announced it was actually being released right then, so that's really awesome. Glad that they did something like that. I always like it when companies release games right as they're announced. It's just a little extra special thing for the people who are really into that stuff. And Trials games are generally pretty fun, so that's good. I'm not going to play anytime soon, though. After that, they unfortunately... They had to do it, I guess, but then they talked about the Assassin's Creed movie. God, it still doesn't look that good. They didn't even show that much new on it. I mean, I guess they, it's coming out this year, so they had to, and they don't have any Assassin's Creed game, but just stop it. Also, apparently Watch Dogs is getting a movie. That's the thing they announced like right after that, and I'm just really like, Watch Dogs wasn't even... Like, the worst part of Watch Dogs was the story and its characters. Why would you build that from a movie? Like, well, at the very least, I doubt the movie's story, rather, could be worse than the game's was. That's for sure. Unless they do, like, a literal adaptation, which would be the dumbest thing in the world. But anyway, they did show Watch Dogs 2. It looks okay. Like, the gameplay does look significantly better than the first one. But I swear, they still have these weird-ass characters. There's this guy that had these sunglasses on, and then, like, the freaking eye part, like, does emoticons, and I can't take it seriously. Every time he showed up during those trailers, I just was immediately checked out. I'm just like, this is just weird. This is off-putting. I think this character is stupid. Why are you showing this character so much? I want to like Watch Dogs 2, but Ubisoft seems to not know how to sell it to people. At least people like me. They ended with a new IP, Steep. I'm sorry, not Step. Gosh, that's a fail. So Steep, it is a action sports open world game. Essentially, it's snowboarding, skiing, base jumping, and paragliding all in one. And it looked really, really good. Like, I'm not normally into sports games at all, but like the way that this actually looks was really great. They were showing several different things of gameplay. Like the base jumping looked amazing. You can do races from jumping off of a mountain, seeing who can get to a certain part of the mountain at the quickest time and everything. And it just there's a lot of features for like recording and then setting challenges up and stuff like that. It looked really good. And for me personally, like, I really like Pilot Wings. I've always liked all the Pilot Wing games, and since that doesn't seem to be a thing that's happening for Nintendo anymore, that might scratch that itch a little bit, so that'll be something I'm looking forward to at the very least. Overall, like I said, it was a really, really weird conference because they had some really amazing stuff, some of the best stuff we've seen from any of the press conferences so far, but when it wasn't that stuff, boy, was it boring and just dragged on, and they spent way too much stuff on certain things like Star Trek and freaking the Assassin's Creed movie. Like, just show the good stuff, or at least make the bad stuff a little bit more interesting. So overall, I would probably give it a 6 out of 10. I don't think it did too bad. Like, it wasn't EA bad, because it did have some really cool stuff. They did announce like 5 new games there, even though I'm not interested in that many of them. Like just Steep and pretty much maybe Trials, but at the very least they did announce stuff, and stuff didn't leak, although Steep technically did leak during the press conference, but that's not that big of a deal. And they had, South Park again, probably one of the best things I've seen, but overall it just had some iffy parts. So yeah, 6 out of 10. I think that's a fair score. Sony is last up for today, and then I will probably do a video on them tomorrow, and then I'll probably do a video on Nintendo showing off Zelda tomorrow, because I'm sure I'm going to have a lot to talk about, especially if it's an hour and a half long. Anyway, I'm Novel Mike. Thanks for watching. Have a great day. That was my opinion.